Good morning, everyone, as you're coming on, and we'll get started here in just a second with our webinar. It is, as I see on the time, 11:59.
Laura, you already have a shout out in the chat.
I do.
Yep, Abby's saying hi. Oh, and hi, Abby. Yeah, that's right.
We're all family around here. You'll find out, Logan, and you're going to love our credit unions.
That's great. I already am excited.
Can't leave out Ron. Ron's already a famous as well. I see most of the folks that we collaborate with on the call, from Louisiana, Cheryl from Mississippi. We should have some folks on here from Indiana, um, Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, and as you can see, I'm here from Tennessee. So we'll give it about another 30 seconds and I will do the introduction and we'll get started with our webinar today. And Montana, that's right. Raynell is here with us. We've invited our friends from far west. They're going to let us know how the weather looks as it makes its way over to us on the East Coast. I'm sure it's going to be delightful to see that in a few days.
We had a good snowstorm. Everybody's commute in Utah just about doubled this morning. So we had a good snowstorm over here. I'd imagine Montana's having cold weather like us.
Yeah. Logan, where are you coming to us from?
I'm here in good old Salt Lake City.
Okay. So
Yep.
most of the folks that we're going to see we're probably east of the Mississippi. So we'll see your snowstorm on Friday or Saturday.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, well, let's get started here and wanted to welcome all of our attendees on to this call. This is a really, really good solution, and Logan's going to talk to us a little bit today about Motivosity and the opportunities that it brings to your credit union for collaboration and unity within your organization. The TR Group, which is a collaboration of 7 states in the southeastern region, have come together and we've partnered with Logan as well as Raynell in Montana to provide the solution to our credit unions. And we just think it is an absolutely fantastic opportunity. As a panelist, I also have Ron Smith with us because was our first credit union in Tennessee to utilize this solution. And I think he has some cheers to give out about it. But Logan is going to be our presenter today, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about the program himself and give you some tips on how we can work together to collaborate as far as working together as a credit union goes. So Logan, I'll let you take it from here.
I am grateful. Thanks for letting me join, and it's great to spend some time with each of you. It's been a little bit, but I spent a good summer working in the Michigan Credit Union League with some of the team there in Michigan, and Motivosity has really enjoyed our interactions with the credit union groups and leagues, and so appreciative of Laura, who's helped us get to work here and hopefully offer this to some of your team members. I am sitting here in Utah. I am the vice president of marketing at Motivosity, and today should be a really easy conversation. We've got a pretty intimate group, and I'll be watching the chat. So if there are things that you want to ask along the way, please just interrupt me. I'm happy to answer those questions that you might have. But before we start, I want to share just a little bit of Motivosity's philosophy and how we see employee engagement, particularly within the credit union world. Motivosity is an employee experience platform. And what we really do is we help financial institutions and other businesses to focus on creating winning cultures. Now, the trick is that winning cultures means different things to different people in different places, right? And so what we have done is we've really looked at the moments where your team members say, you know what, this is an organization or an institution where I want to stay and invest, or the moments where they say, this just isn't for me anymore and I'm ready to move on to something else. Most of the time, those moments revolve around these kind of four categories. Do they feel like they're a part of the community at work? Do they feel like they're being recognized for the work they're doing? Do they have a good relationship with their manager? And are they being heard? Are their ideas and their feedback being elevated throughout the company? We're going to spend most of our time today talking about that blue and that green section, because frankly, that's where we have the most impact for credit unions. We'll go really high level on the red and the purple, but I at least wanted you to know that those exist because oftentimes you're using other tools, and it might be helpful to think about that from a consolidation effort. Clearly, within each of those high level categories, there's a lot of jobs to be done. And Motivosity brings those into one place. And you'll see these in a more natural situation in just a moment. um, the world is an interesting place right now. The workforce kind of feels like it's on fire. You've got a huge percentage of people that are ready to quit. They're feeling, more than half of employees are feeling burnt out. And so one of the problems that Motivosity solves is this disengagement problem, right? And maybe you experience a little bit of that. Typically, when it comes to credit unions, though, we see something different. We see that within the credit unions and those institutions, uh, things are good, but the leaders and the the presidents and the CEOs want it to be better, right? And so this was an example of feedback that we heard from a president of a credit union with 8 locations, and they had a good culture. But he felt like that his people were disconnected and that they didn't feel connected to the voice of the credit union. Part of that was because they were spread across different locations, and they were remote. They had some people at home, and that was a problem he was trying to solve. Often, when we think about employee engagement and how do we make our team members happy, kind of our default answer is, let's give them more stuff, right? Let's throw a party, let's bring in lunch, let's fill the snack room, let's give them some swag. I'm not wearing it today, but I wear my Motivosity hat all the time, and I love that hat, right? But it doesn't get me out of bed on Monday mornings, and it doesn't make me a better team member. And so a lot of times when we resort to giving people stuff, it doesn't have a long-term impact. It might help for a minute, but it doesn't have a long shelf life in helping employee engagement. And over time, you can see that employee engagement numbers haven't really improved over the last few decades. It's been kind of stagnant. And what Motivosity has learned, and really what our philosophy is that it's the thanks that matters, not just the stuff. It's about the gratitude and connecting people. And when people feel recognized for their work and connected to their team members, they stay longer and they work harder and they care more about the organization. One of our customers is Deseret First Credit Union. Deseret First is out of Utah. They have about 220 employees, I believe 12 locations, and there's about 76,000 members across their entity. And I wanted to share a really quick video from Shane, their CEO. And excuse me, I'm going to stop sharing so that I make sure that I get the audio on this one. Um, there we go. And I just want to share with you what Shane had to say about his experience with Motivosity.
So I'm Shane London. I'm the president and CEO of Deseret First Credit Union. I've been with Deseret First Credit Union for 42 years, so I've obviously seen a lot of changes. When we started off, we were downtown Salt Lake and one office and one location and about 18 employees, and now we're over 220 employees. Well, our values exist for both our members and our employees. And there are certain values that are specific to our employees. We want to be a fun place to work. We want employees to feel fulfillment when they come here. We want them to feel like they have the opportunities to grow and learn and give. When Motivosity was first presented to me by our HR team, I'm that doubtful. I'm a former CFO, so I have that doubtful part of me, that skeptic, if you will. And as HR brought it to us and explained the concept, I said, well, okay, we'll give it a shot. We'll see where it is. And boy, was I wrong. If I had to go back and look at what Motivosity has done for us before versus after, I would say that the biggest driver of those changes, or the impact that you would see, is I think people are more engaged with each other. I think we're always a cohesive and connected team. Don't take that wrong, but I think Motivosity has expanded that. And that's expanded outside of individual departments or branches. It's actually expanded at credit union wide. And I think what that's done, especially as we now live in a virtual world and more of our employees don't interact face-to-face as they did, is that ability to see, even though I don't really know this person face-to-face, I may have talked to them on a phone or I responded to a need, it increases that relationship and that cohesion that a team comes together. And that's probably the change that I've seen more than anything else. I think it's probably brought us closer together and more committed to achieving the mission and purpose of the credit union as we move forward. It's incredible to see the difference it's made in staff's lives.
I appreciate those thoughts, and I'm also really glad to have Ron here today from Inbright. And Laura mentioned he's one of our current customers in Tennessee. And Ron, do you want to take a second and share a little bit of how of your experience with Motivosity for this group?
Absolutely. Thank you, Logan. So, as I'm watching that and I'm thinking about some of the things, I look at our Christmas party. And in the past, our Christmas party, and we hold it in the different financial centers, instead of mixing it up, they know each other, so they sit together. This last Christmas party we had, because of the interaction with Motivosity, they got to know different people in other locations, and you saw the spread out. Hey, I want to sit with someone over here because I know them. I want to know them better, where I've got to know them a little bit on Motivosity, where we've been thanking one another, we've been communicating, sharing things. So now I want to go over here and sit with this group, or I want to sit with that group. We saw a different dynamic, and I've got to attribute it to Motivosity as far as the interactions with our teams. We used to run different promotions within it. We used to have, and we still do actually, what's called Star Awards, but each office would be giving Star Awards to just their own teams. Now, everybody's getting recognized in different offices, and everybody can see that recognition in different offices. So that's played a huge part in being able to recognize team members, not just the ones you interact with every day. You get to interact with the entire team and recognize the entire team, whether it be back office, C-suite, front office, doesn't make any difference. Everybody is interacting, congratulating, making comments to one another. And you see that motivation, you see that cohesive team building upon one another, and the culture is building upon itself with that. So exactly what he said from Desert First, we've seen that in the last 6 to 8 months we've been on it. We've seen that increase.
I appreciate you sharing that, and we love it when leaders like Ron feel that way. We also love it when end users, when your tellers, when your staff, when your employees are saying things like this, when they're saying, I have better relationships than I used to, Motivosity's created a better energy, and I feel more connected. And my personal favorite is when your employees say, Motivosity helps me feel seen at work. We know that we're doing something right. And so let me show you what that looks like inside. I'm gonna shift over to the actual platform. And again, as you have questions, I'm going to invite Ron to interrupt me as he pleases. And if you have questions, put those in the chat, and I'll be able to answer those for you. this is what Motivosity looks like. And it should feel very, very familiar to you because it feels like a social media platform. It is meant to be a bit of a social intranet built for your team members to connect with each other and to connect with the credit union. Now, I don't always start here, but I think that for our purposes, this is really helpful. We integrate with a lot of different tools, HRIS and employee tools, and we also integrate with, we have an open API. And so when you onboard with Motivosity, which is a pretty quick and easy process, one of the first things that happens is that it creates an org chart for you. Right. So this would help you see where you are, where your team members are within branches. If you have new employees coming on, they get a sense for where they fit within the organization. And so it's a very quick way to see, how do I fit within this company? Each employee also has their own personality or their own personal profile. And so some of this comes in automatically. If you have their work start date or their birthday, then that can come in automatically. Their department, what they're responsible for is also within Motivosity and is searchable. So if I need to find someone in the company that's responsible for PTO or compliance issues or reimbursements, then I can use the Motivosity search function to find people throughout the company that maybe I don't know who they are and I need some questions answered. It's also really important that people get to bring their personal self to work. And so they can add in their own history, a little bit about them, their background, but we also try to make it a little more fun, right? And so within Motivosity, you have interest groups, and I can see the people that are interested in camping, or maybe it's hunting, or whatever activity it is. One of our customers, they had a few hundred employees, and they had team members that found each other through Motivosity that loved mountain biking, right? And so these people from finance or sales or support ended up coming together through Motivosity and creating a little micro community, a mountain biking community. And the company loved that micro community because when people like their teammates and their peers, they stay at work longer. And so the company decided to invest in that. And it wasn't much. They bought them kits or jerseys. They helped sponsor a few races and just supported this this group of team members who otherwise probably never would have interacted. And we love to see those interest groups being used as another way to connect. When your team members or your employees are logging into Motivosity, they'll also answer about a 4 or 5 question personality test. And that personality test allows them to see how they should engage with their other team members, right? So I can see Donna here. Donna and I, we have very overlapping personalities, and I can come in and get some really quick, tangible insights about how I can best work with her. Should I appeal to authority? Should I invest in the relationship first? Should I use data? And it gives me some hints about how I should work with those around me. Now, again, this is helpful for new team members coming on, might be helpful for new managers or new leaders that are trying to figure out how to lead their team members. If you're remote and don't interact with the people that you work with very much, this might be helpful. So it is a quick way to make sure people engage with each other and know better how to engage. One of the best ways to build communities at work is through gratitude and recognition. And so, admittedly, we do something a little bit different. We recruit all of your team members to be involved in recognition. And what we do is we give each of them a few dollars every month, normally $3 to $5, and they can only use those dollars to say thank you to their peers. Ron, if I can put you on the spot, do you recall what each of your individual contributors get each month that they can say thank you with?
Yeah, we do $5 each month, beginning each month. And I mean, for the most part, everybody by the end of the month, we have 25 team members, and they've used all $5 at the end of the month. They've given it out. Everybody's recognizing one another. I will say, Logan, too, kind of circling back a little bit, when
Please.
talking about the interactions and everything, we found this very helpful and almost imperative. The C-suite needs to interact just as much as everybody else. And because, it is like a Facebook. And when you see that interaction that I have recognized somebody, or even I've got recognized by somebody else for something, people realize, oh, hey, everybody is, hey, I've seen people see what I do and they thought it was good. And it's not just the person sitting next to me that saw that. It's gone all the way up to your C-suite that's seen that, and they're recognizing you back down. The lack of a better term, the warm and fuzzies for everybody.
Yeah, I'm really grateful you would add that. And in fact, what I would say is the C-suite can't see every interaction, right? And so by empowering your team members to give micro bonuses, people are
Mm-hmm.
recognized more consistently. But the impact of the C-suite is really important. In fact, I'm going to go off script, and I hope I don't get in trouble and technology gets me. We did some research on what happens when executives are involved with Motivosity. And so when CEOs are active in Motivosity, their employee net promoter score is four times higher than passive CEOs. Here's another great stat, this one in the red. Active CEOs turnover rate is 9.6%, and industry average during that same time period was 22.4%. So what happens is Ron's absolutely right. When you are involved as an executive, it amplifies the program even more. So thank you for sharing that. What I'm going to do, I want to show you an example. So let's say I come in and I've got, again, $4 that I can give this month as a team member. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, you know what, Ron, in fact, real Ron, I saw this in your instance. Someone said, thank you for helping on the teller line, and I'm doing shorthand here, but they basically said, thank you for helping on the teller line when we were short staffed, right? And that was one of the appreciations from one of your team members at Inbright. And so I can tie that into a corporate value. Of course, we customize this for you. So maybe it's member experience, or maybe it's teamwork. This one, that sounds like team spirit to me that Ron filled in. And I'm going to give Ron $1, and then I'm going to send it to him. Now, please know that the dollar doesn't necessarily change Ron's life, right? It's not about the dollar. The dollar is the nudge for me to look around the office and to say thank you to someone. It's the nudge to get me to be grateful to other people. So Ron gets a notification that that appreciation that I sent him shows up in the Motivosity feed and on the mobile app. And suddenly you're seeing all of the positive things that are going around at the credit union, right? And you start to see all of the interactions that otherwise might be invisible. And it is a really powerful way to build a great culture. There are a few other things that happen in this feed. So maybe I want to share a highlight. And let's see, I have a Jerry Seinfeld quote here. I'm going to pull in a Jerry Seinfeld quote just because it's on my background. But I can come in and I can share a highlight. Maybe that's about maybe that highlight is about a great month that we had, or retention, or whatever it might be. And when I share that with the team, everyone sees that. So I can use that from a corporate perspective, like maybe we had a great month, or added a certain number of new members. But I could also do it from an individual perspective, like maybe I just had a baby, or maybe this individual team member won a race on the weekend, and I just want to highlight them. Your team members can add some of their personal and professional lives as far as highlights. The other thing that a lot of institutions do is they use this for announcements. So maybe you're doing an open enrollment announcement, right? Or you have a new compliance training that people need to complete. I can put those details in here. I can pin this to the top of the feed. I can notify my team members so they'll get a mobile notification if it's that important. And suddenly, test for TR group. Suddenly, I have a way to communicate with all of my team members. And the beautiful part about it is that they will pay more attention to announcements within Motivosity because Motivosity is their happy place. They come here naturally because they want to see the good things going on. They're incentivized with the dollars. They're earning their rewards, and so they come here, and you get more participation because they enjoy Motivosity. I was at dinner not too long ago in Indiana. I was there with a hospital, and one of the people at this dinner was a customer from a hospital. And Jason from that group, when he was introducing himself said, "Motivosity is our most used platform in the hospital, and because of that, I'm trying to get all of my other efforts into Motivosity because that's where my people's eyes are." So think of this again as a social intranet where you can communicate and engage with your people. Ron, anything you want to add there? I want to show people a couple other things around the dollars. Anything you'd add so far?
You hit just about everything, but it is good. We find pictures. If you've got pictures of something like I was telling you earlier about, our Christmas float, your uh, Seinfeld quote there, this picture up here, pictures definitely get more attention. We find we get a lot more comments from people.
Mm.
We put up because not everybody was able to make one of the Christmas parades we were in, and we've got a float that we put in there that's pulled. We get team members and families to vote and such. And so the ones that weren't there, oh my gosh, I missed it, or hey, next year I'm going to be there. They see the float, and a lot of them haven't seen the float before because it is relatively new what we have built up for it. But they're like, oh yeah, I got to go be there next year and such. But you get a lot more comments if you can put some pictures in there with things too. And you are correct in the fact that, that is probably between Motivosity and Teams where you're sharing messages back and forth. Those are the two highest reviewed communication pieces we have.
Yeah, great. And I'm glad you talk about Teams. We absolutely integrate with Slack and Teams so that you can have an appreciation channel and be able to see some of that there as well. I want to show you a few other things that we do around dollars. You can also manage spot bonuses within Motivosity. So if you want to give maybe a branch manager or a team lead dollars, you can give them a certain amount each year, and they can use that to take care of their team members on one-off scenarios. So you can see I have a $400 allowance for the year, but I don't want my managers to be able to give out $400. So I can put a governor on there, and if they try to do anything more than 50, it will take approval from an administrator. But these can be used for a lot of things. We use these spot bonuses. Sometimes we'll do a team lunch, and our remote team members get left out, right? And so we'll send them a $20 spot bonus and say, hey, join the meeting virtually. We got lunch today. I had one of my team members, she had surgery and was out for a few days. I sent her a $50 spot bonus in Motivosity and said, hey, we hope you recover. Go get something delivered for you so that you can, we're thinking about you while you're recovering. These spot bonuses are, of course, they default to private, but you can make them public. But that's a really nice way that you can empower your managers and your leaders to take care of those around them. We automate we automate your birthdays and your work anniversaries. So when you upload your team members and put those dates in here, they're automatically put into Motivosity. And I can see Ron's birthday. We're using a lot of Ron's today. I can see Ron's birthday is January 14th. And I can come in and I can say, happy birthday, you're number one. And a few things are going to happen on when he wakes up on the 14th. He's going to have an email with all of these shout outs from his team, so his birthday is still personal. He's also going to have a customized amount. We do $15 added to his spending balance for his birthday, right? And so suddenly Ron is never forgotten. You never miss or forget a birthday. I don't have a drawer full of gift cards sitting in my desk that I have to worry about. I give Ron dollars instead of a gift card, so he's not disappointed with those, with whatever, if I give him the wrong gift card. And the same story with anniversaries. You can customize that so that on someone's first anniversary, they get X dollars. Maybe that grows on their third or fifth anniversary. You can customize those amounts. But suddenly we're automating a lot of those processes that have been pretty manual before. The last thing I'll show you, and this is one of my favorites, is Motivosity has an awards section. And so think about any activity that you want to incentivize within your credit union. Maybe it is it's signing up a new member. Maybe it is like your customer service MVP of the month award. Maybe it is someone who did the new compliance training, or you could even do fun things like wellness challenges in here. We use this we do an annual cornhole tournament, and we put that award inside of Motivosity, and you can put dollars with that, but you don't have to. Ron, your team, I don't think you were using the achievements, but your group was doing something with reviews on Yelp and Google, where this would be a perfect tool to incentivize that. And every time someone gets a new review, or they're mentioned in a Google review, they get the badge, and they get the, a a little $10 micro bonus. So this is a great way to drive extra engagement, both at a professional work level, but also with fun and culture.
Mm-hmm.
Think Halloween contests, costume contests, think like any March Madness, anything you want to put in there as far as engagement, you can create an award around. Let's see, I just want to make sure. Oh, Ginger, thank you for asking. Ginger asked about taxes. I promise I will show you that. We absolutely make that very easy for you. Let me talk to you about what happens with the rewards. Eventually, these dollars build, and then you have a customizable store that you can have for your team members, where they can use those dollars. You're able to choose from hundreds of gift cards, right? So Amazon, Delta, um, eBay, restaurants. There's tons of options there. You're able to put in company swag. So if you have your own swag store or want to work with one of our partners, you can have swag in there. This is actually something that I would imagine would be really important for credit unions. I imagine that most of you are involved at the community level, and involved with community causes, and they can donate their dollars there. So whether it's supporting a individual in need within the community, or maybe an angel tree at Christmas in your community, you can have your team members donate there. We also have what's called the Thanks Matters Visa. And the Thanks Matters Visa is literally a Visa card that your team members can use. It's tied to their rewards balance in real time. And so instead of having to choose from gift cards, maybe I just want to go pay for gas when it's really expensive, or I need to use this to pay for a copay for my kid's doctor visit, or I want to take my wife out to dinner. What Motivosity is really amazing at is helping all of your team members be recognized, and then be rewarded how they want to be rewarded. And it's a really powerful way to engage your people. Um, uh, Ron, let me I'm not sure with how long you've been with us, your experience with the store, or your feedback on the rewards portion, but feel free to jump in if you have any thoughts. If not, I'll show another part of the platform.
Don't have a lot of experience with it. I know we've used it. I personally don't have the experience with it. Uh, but like I said, I know some of our team has used it. We haven't been on there that long that it's accrued for each one of them, to where
Yeah.
they're some of them are redeeming it frequently right now.
And a lot of time you'll see people save up, and then they
Mm-hmm.
use it at Christmas, or at some time to spoil themselves. One thing I do want to point out, the dollars within Motivosity are protected for you. And this does go back to the taxes question. If, let's say, I have these $33, if I was fired today for cause and I had done something wrong, the second that you fire me or disable me within your HRIS or turn me off as a user within Motivosity, those $33 go back to the credit union. They kind of sit, and you could think of it as they're sitting in escrow. They aren't redeemed until your team members cash out and get a gift card or they swipe their Thanks Matters card. And so we do try to protect these dollars for your organization. Most of the time what happens is a team member says, I'm leaving, I'm putting in my two weeks notice, and the credit union will say, great, please use your Motivosity dollars by then, and we're going to shut you off in Motivosity once you leave, so please use your dollars. You end up, and I'll come back to that tax question in just a minute. What you end up with is some really powerful data and insights about what's going on throughout your company. So I can see the corporate values that are being lived through Motivosity, and you know what? Maybe independence is an outdated value, or we need to do a training on it to help people understand what that means. I can see the departments, or in your cases, oftentimes the branches that are engaging and how much they're participating. I love this report over here. This shows you the engagement across the credit union. So in the last 90 days in this small org, I can see how many appreciations were given. I can see how many people are giving thanks. I can see how many are being thanked and how my leaders are participating. I actually, with Ron's permission, pulled up his account and wanted to show you what that looks like currently for InBright. And so these are his real stats as of this morning. So in the last 90 days, there's been 211 appreciations given throughout InBright. 88% of his team members are giving and getting thanks. You can see his manager appreciation level. Like, this is some really powerful data. Now, if I were Ron or Ron's HR leader, or like, one of the things that I would look at is users who need thanks. So there are 3 team members that haven't been thanked. And within the actual platform, I could click on this and see those 3 people. And I might want to understand why. Is it that they're not doing good work? Is it that they feel isolated and don't know enough people? Like, could their manager be recognizing them for something? This might be a little teeny flag about potential turnover. And if it's bad turnover, then suddenly I can go address that. Whereas before I would have had no idea. So, so many different reports within Motivosity about what's being done throughout the company, who's engaged, who's not, and then also on the tax portion. Let me find that really quickly. That's going to be in our money tab. I can also see the details on the spending and on the giving. And so one of those is the taxes. Now, here's my answer about that. Motivosity is not your tax consultant. What we do is we give you all of the data that you need, and then your CFO, your team, decides how they want to manage that. 99% of the time, what our customers do is they say the taxable event is on the redemption, not on receiving the dollar. Because again, if they were to leave today and didn't redeem those dollars, they didn't get anything. They just had an escrow dollar within Motivosity. So we almost always see our customers say, we're going to have the taxable event be on the redemption. We have that data all right here. We have an open API so that we can integrate with your payroll system. You're able to download this or schedule that report so that it sends to your finance team on time, on a consistent basis. And then again, we see both situations. Some where Motivosity, we cover the taxes associated with these dollars for our team members. Other organizations don't, and then that comes out of the payroll. So Ginger, I hope I've answered that question well for you. Oh, she signed out. I just saw that. So I apologize. We'll make sure Ginger gets the recording, but hopefully that helps everyone else understand some of the tax implications. I want to show you 2 more things really, really quickly, and then I'll let Laura take back over, and if there's questions, we can answer those. The first thing is Motivosity. I mentioned that we have a suite of tools that help your managers. Motivosity is a manager development tool that helps your leaders focus on the right activities. So we literally give them the place where they can hold their one-on-ones and document their one-on-ones with their team members. So I can add agenda items, I can add notes, and my team member and I, this is a central place where we can work and collaborate and have one-on-ones that documents it for the organization. Similarly, you can coach within Motivosity, you can set goals, you can do I mentioned one-on-ones, but this helps me look at all of my people leaders across the entity and say, you know what, where could I go help? Where could I go help April be a better manager? Looks like she needs a lot of work. And suddenly, instead of trying to do corporate-wide trainings, I have a tool that helps me manage my leaders more effectively. And then the last thing that I want to show you, and again, I'm going to give you the 30,000 foot view here. We also have a survey tool within Motivosity. And so within Motivosity, we want you to know whether or not your team members are satisfied. And so there is a part of our platform that you can add on, and that add-on allows you to send what we call the MV6. It's 6 questions that your team members are asked every quarter. And so suddenly you can see the employee sentiment throughout your organization and whether it's going up and down. So we ask about things like, are you receiving frequent appreciation? Do you have a positive relationship with your boss? Do you feel connected? I love this one. I tell my friends they should work here. And suddenly I have all this data where I can say, you know what? This branch of the credit union is really happy. This one's struggling. And that's a place where I need to go dig in and see what I can do as a leader to help them. So that survey tool is very, very it gives you additional action items that you can work on to help your culture. The last thing that I will show you is our pricing. And Motivosity, we've just done everything we can to have no-brainer pricing. We put it right on our website. Essentially, Motivosity itself is $2 per team member per month. And then the recognition and rewards add-on, which encompasses almost everything I just showed you, is an additional $2. So for $4 per employee per month, you get the personality profiles, the org chart, the recognition, the milestones, the data associated with that. We've tried to set this up in a way that almost makes it impossible to say no to. I'm sure there will be some questions. Ron, do you want to wrap up from your perspective, if you don't mind, and anything you would share about your experience with Motivosity, good or bad?
Logan, I got to tell you, number one, it's all been great. It's been, like I said, it's brought a lot of the team together. To be honest with you, I've taken a couple of notes here on my stuff because I didn't realize Motivosity did a couple of things. So I've got to do a little deeper dive into that to make it more functional for us. But like I said, the experience has been great. I go in each day and I review, I look at things, I give spot bonuses, things like that, and watching the engagement. I will go back to senior management, C-suite, all the way down to managers need to be engaged in this, because I can watch certain centers where management's not involved and you'll see a taper off of it. You get them back involved, it comes back up again. So, I mean, it is lead by example, definitely. But once you've got that going and people are in it, like I said, they use it a lot more than email. We don't allow social media just because of the security risk of it on anything that's happening. So this is their social media inside the credit union. This is, sharing pictures, like you said, personal stuff. You want to share it, that's great, whatever. We had one young lady who got pregnant, and she shared it all over this was our Facebook page to be shared. Congratulations from credit union wide on it, so happy for you. I had a feeling that was what it was, thought you were, things like that. So the engagement wise, and going back to some of the things I said before too, where she is in one of the centers that's away from two of the others, a lot of the people wouldn't have known that unless she had been able to, with Motivosity, she was able to share it. So truly important for morale, for communications, things like that. It has impacted our credit union culture um, for the positive side of it. It's definitely increasing interactions. It's increasing team member satisfaction with what they do. And people, I said, are being recognized. Like, hey, that pat on the back, just thanks for giving me a shout out. I appreciate it. That goes, I mean, goes over huge with people. The dollar, $2, whatever. Yeah, hey, great, thanks, I appreciate that. But hey, the recognition is the most important part, especially when somebody from a different center says, hey Logan, I heard about what you did, great job, appreciate it. Or you're on the phone with somebody else and somebody in a different center helped you out. It's like, hey, thanks, I called you, you answered the phone, you helped me out with this with a member, I appreciate it. So and $4 a team member, $6 a team member, whatever you're looking at, when you look at the dividends that pays team wise, culture wise, it's nothing. So, and
Well,
that's what we've seen.
I
I'm sorry, go
appreciate,
ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, I appreciate the kind words, and we're grateful to have you as a customer, and thankful that you'd share your insights here today. Laura, you want to take it away? I see a couple questions. You want to guide us
Yeah.
through that part of this?
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I'll say just really quickly prior to getting to these couple of questions that'd probably be good for you to answer, Logan, is that the proposal that you guys sent us, I reviewed that for Ron. Wanted to see what it looked like before he got his hands on it. And I know it's super simple. It's not one of those hard contracts. It's easy to change your mind. And if you want out, but nobody really wants out, everybody loves it. So, but I will say that the back end of it, we vetted it very closely, and we think that's a good proposal and good information that's inside of that. And you guys have been really good to us as a partner. So, and the pricing really is truly that. It's pretty great. So thank you so much for being a good partner out there that's not, pricing something way higher than it.
We're doing our best.
Yeah, Jessica's asked, a lot of credit unions do member surveys. Is there a way to integrate a survey for membership in there?
Yeah, so let me just be so honest and transparent. We are so employee focused, right? This is very much about your team members, and it is their cultural go-to place. And so the answer is no, we don't have member surveys. One thing that is in the works is you probably have credit union members that want to celebrate their teller or the person working with them on a loan or whatever it might be. And so external appreciation and them being able to say thank you to a specific team member is in the works. But as far as surveys, that's not something that we would be able to help you consolidate. So I'm sorry to start off with a failure answer.
Okay. I'll let you take a look at this second message. It's a little in depth from Ramsey. It might be easier for you to read and answer from that.
Yeah, Ramsey asked about introducing this. How do you launch this with your employees? And there are a number of different answers. First and foremost, it takes almost no work to launch this with your team members. The HRIS, or however you integrate, we help you onboard and get set up. We have a dedicated team for that. And so getting the system ready is very easy. And then most of the time, when you tell your team members, we have a recognition tool for you, and this is all about you, and there's dollars involved, people flock to it. So I was talking to a company the other day. They had 850 employees, so a large organization, and their CHRO messaged me at the end of day one, and he said, Logan, we had, I think it was 640 people log in on day one. It was an overwhelming majority. So some companies just send out an email and let Motivosity kind of take that through our onboarding process. Some companies want it to be a big event, and so they'll do a launch and they'll do a little bit of a party, and we can send a little bit of swag for a raffle, and you're able to do that. It is so intuitive that it doesn't take a lot of effort. Now, where that's not true is on our manager development side. On the manager development side, you want an initiative, you want some more intentionality, but as far as the recognition, the rewards, and the community, we made it so simple. Ron,
Awesome.
is your experience align with that?
Absolutely. And for the couple that didn't jump in, peer pressure took over.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't see your review, so, or you didn't take the personality test, so we're going to put your personality in for you. Boom, they took the personality test real quick. Or Motivosity has little emojis for each person, and if you don't upload a picture to it, it gives you this little emoji. Well, oh, so you're the hippo, huh? So we're going to call you Happy Hippo from now on instead of having a picture. Whoop, pictures go up real quick. So, the engage, whoever we saw, probably 85, 90% instant engagement with it. And for the few who didn't, that 15% that didn't, within the next 24 hours, they were boom, engaged and taking care of things. So,
Normally the other thing is they'll get recognized. Someone will send them $1 and then they jump in to say, well, what is this? At the end of the month, we send a little nudge that says, you still have $3, go thank somebody, right? We prompt them, and that notification gets a lot of people in. There's kind of this FOMO and fear of losing those dollars that gets that last little chunk of people in there.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I answered that okay. If you have more questions, Ramsey, please let me know.
I noticed that in this last comment, it said that Purdue Federal Credit Union in Indiana is launching, and there is an awful lot of attendees from Indiana on this webinar. So hopefully there'll be some cool folks following suit. And I will say that if any of you guys want more information, we'll send you a simple email with the webinar link after this, and just a little bit of information on who to contact. Any of you guys can contact your league rep, and your league can set you up a more in-depth demo with Logan and his group. We'd be happy to work with you, and hope that you see as much value in this as we saw in it as well.
And Laura, if I can, there's a couple other questions here that again Pam asked about smaller credit unions. I don't have those off the top of my head, but I'm sure we have them. There was a week a few months ago where we had, I think, 7 or 8 credit unions sign up with us in the week. So we've
Well,
got a lot of examples.
Ron
The
probably fills that bucket. He is 3 locations with 24 employees. So I think having 2 locations is a great option for this.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, Laura, I think you'll have more information coming out. If you are interested, this QR code, you can scan this with your phone, or there's the URL below. This is the page associated with our partnership with TR Group. And so you fill out that form, you'll immediately be tied in with TR Group. And again, we have some friends from Montana, and I think Renell, we had said, let's go through here initially just to kind of combine superpowers. The other thing that I would say before I finish up, if you'll allow me, one, it's a very small world. And so if there is a way that I, Motivosity or not, can be a resource, if there's a job that I can make some noise about, if there's a post you want me to push, or if there's someone I can introduce you to, I hope you'll reach out. And then 2, we're really excited to be involved with your communities. I know that we are already on signing up to work with a lot of the credit unions' annual state events. And so when you're thinking about sponsorships, we'd love to be involved there. If there's corporate trainings or things that we can do about leadership, we're a really powerful resource there outside of just the recognition. And we're excited to be the best partner that we can be.
Sounds great.
Logan,
Yes.
I got one more thing here real quick, because I saw Ramsey had another question there about integrating it with another platform or something, because this is a standalone, and you'd made mention of Teams.
Yes.
Can you give me like a 30-second brief? You said it does integrate with Teams.
Absolutely.
Can you just give an overview of that?
In fact, let me just share really quickly our integrations page. In Motivosity that we hear, Ramsey, we hear that all the time. Well, is this just another thing my team members are going to have to log into? And there is some truth to that. The difference is everything else that they have to log to is for corporate, right? They're logging into it out of obligation. They're kind of forced. They have to. With Motivosity, this is the cultural heartbeat of your company. And so it doesn't come with the same burden as another login. We do have a lot of integrations, so HRIS systems, payroll, communications. So Microsoft Teams and Slack are our two most common communication channels. And again, I'm in Motivosity a lot. I use my mobile app when I'm at the store in line thinking, oh, I should go recognize Steven or celebrate Kim. When I get a notification, I look at it on my mobile app. But on my day to day, I actually have Slack pulled up and we have a channel called Motivosity Appreciations. And so I can see, even if I'm not in Motivosity, it's still connected to our communication channels so that I can see the things happening throughout the company. And then if something catches my attention, I might jump into Motivosity for a minute and add a GIF or add a comment, right? Or add an extra dollar onto it. So yes, Motivosity is an additional login. Unlike 99% of the other things that you're using, this is one built for your team members and you won't have much pushback.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Logan.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, thank you for your time today, Logan, and thanks everyone on the call today. Thank you guys for coming in and joining us to hear a little bit about this opportunity. I know Logan does a number of different motivational topics and things of that nature. So if we needed him to help us with a speaking event at some point in time, we probably will bring him out. But thank you so much for showing us the solution.
It was my pleasure. Thank you to all of you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Logan.
Bye.
Cheers.